Hello there, my name is Retro. I can talk about animation, and today we're going to talk about episode 5 of My Adventure of Superman. This episode was very interesting because Adult Swim didn't want to show that much. Even the clip was 5 seconds. You just didn't understand this episode be really good. They didn't want to show it or really bad. And nobody really sure how to take it because there was like a divide in the fandom that curiously this could be a bad episode. You that was more leaning to it because how much little information we got about this episode. When I finally watch it, you just like, okay, I get it. Because it's a lot of spoilers of this episode that you just get resolved. I think one of the things is Jimmy, what happened to the last episode 4 and right now, that he's being ignored by Lois and Kent. That he has a moment for himself, the moment he going hiking to see Bigfoot, his thing, his UFO exception. And both his best friends are not really communicating with them. He feels ignored. He's going to his job. But out of nowhere, Steve came in. And Jimmy, like, saying, "Help me?" Like, he doesn't want to stuck with Steve. Even the chief led them through the lion of Steve. He just stuck with them. But I love something so interesting because the first time you see Steve, Steve is one noted. Steve actually is a character in the comics that's not really used in animation or live action because Steve is Steve. Like, you can see why they don't want to use him live action or anything else because he's just so over the top. But Steve has this moment talking to Jimmy. Even Jimmy doesn't want to stay with Steve, and he also finds out that he is the one who's nuking his channel, mocking him. He just pissed off even more. He's stuck with the person who hates him and hates him back. But I love it. Steve has a moment like the reason why Steve's like Jimmy is because it reminds of him. Because you're the wolf. Like, he breaks it down so well that yeah, yes, your good best friends always back you up, but life changes. Things just moved on. Like, you cannot be friends forever because life interrupt your friendship. You have to keep moving on. Like, I love it. Even see like I could say to you, be a wolf like me, but never a positive, never a negative, never try to put down Jimmy. It's just Steve is concerned, like his Steve way. It's just weird. It's wholesome at the same time, just warning Jimmy. And Jimmy is in denial, like, no, no, he got my friends got my back. We are a good friendship. Like, yeah, like he's in denial, but the episodes you can actually tell, like, yeah, no, they're separating, like slowly and steady because of the job, because of their own interest. Usually that does happen in real life. Yeah, I love it how well and understood they actually point that out without fully telling you just to the very end just to make it sense to some people who are actually completely dense. But even love they actually focus of Lois and Clark, that Lois knows that Clark is Superman, and she wants him to tell him. And every time Clark wants to tell her, he can't tell her because he always get interrupted, especially what's going on in the city. That all the tech that live was stolen and being used by criminals, but it's something instead of happening. Like they're getting hunted down like the predator. Like each one, every time they use a tech, someone's there to take them down. And all the criminals thinking it would be Superman. And Superman have no idea what's going on. Superman were trying to understand. But I love it that how every time Superman try to take down or save someone, you have like a police scanner. And every time the police scanner says, "Oh, it's an incident happening here, we need backup," well, you know what? Never mind. And he does that over and over again. It's like it was a running gag how Superman, how useful he really is. Like every time you hear the scanner, just never mind. Superman's there. He take care of it. Don't worry. It was kind of like a running gag. It was really funny. But I love it. The rest of the episode is focused on Lois and Clark. It's all about Lois knowing Superman is Clark Kent and Clark Kent is Superman. She's so desperate to just tell her the truth. She actually kind of lock him with him. He's used handcuffed to click to him doing a battle. Like, Lois, sweetie, just calm down. I mean, I know she wants the truth. I know what's that himbo blood on him, but goddamn, not in the middle of a fight, or at least in the middle of a investigation. But Superman being Superman, like, I guess we can do something with this. And I love it even more. You find out that the crew of the criminals are trying to run away for Superman. Even that Superman admitted, look, we run away for Superman. We get Superman. We try to get out of the city, but we need money to get out of the city. But every time we try to steal, my crew disappears, and that's what you're afraid of. But I love it how Superman tried to connect everything. Like, he's trying to understand, especially every time he has a tech of this that is Kryptonian, a kryptonite, oh not kryptonite, Kryptonian technology. Every time he touch it, he sort of gives a memory, like not his memory, but the technology memory, the moment what being used. And I love that sort of sneak peek behind the uh, screen hours. And I love how Superman tried to connect things, trying to make sense. And he's also trying to help Lois not to be killed. And decided to, you know what, drop her back to the blue, back to work so he can actually does the job. But how Lois is freaking out, knowing he's not invincible, that she needs to be there to help him. That sort of desperation, that sort of she's still so in love with them. He doesn't want to see them hurt, but just enjoy that. Especially how Superman goes against Deathstroke, because Deathstroke is the one who actually taking down all the criminals, taking all the technology, and he also got suited up. I mean, it's not the fully Deathstroke weaponry, but it's sort of interesting. Of course, I do love one of the villains who actually have the failing technology. I know it's a well-known villain of Superman. I just can't remember her name. That even her design was sort of weird. She is the one who has fire abilities. Sick. Especially the original, she used to have a psychic abilities, but her psychic abilities is a manifesting fire. But I just can't remember her name. Especially, I couldn't remember her face because how completely changed that villain is. It's the redhead, the one who her technology is not fully working. But Deathstroke stopped her and captured her. But during that moment, he has a fight with Superman. This is the point of the generals and the Man of Water want Superman taken down right now and go 1-on-1. It was an interesting fight to see because you could tell how Superman not yet fully strength. He doesn't have the full power of Superman. He still have to sort of figure it out. Yeah, I thought that's sort of interesting that he is sort of not winning the fight. Especially Slade have two robots. Especially he have two other people in around seeing the fight. Amanda Water and the general that be Lois's father. I love that they gave it a more a sneak peek why the general hates Superman. He has the event with all the technology landing on top of him. So you can see why he has sort of doesn't like him because maybe he is the threat. That's sort of understandable why he has that fear. But at the same time, I love it that the general is not a monster. That he knows if people are involved who are not soldiers, he will stop the fight. Especially you have arguments with Amanda Water. Like, no, this is my mission. You do not say anything. Especially you have uh uh people around who are not soldiers. The fight ends now. Yeah, I love that sort of argument about both of them trying to understand who is in charge. Especially, I love that they're but they're holograms. I thought, oh, maybe Deathstroke is the only one who can see them. He has the tech. No, they're there because they want Superman to see them. They want to tell him, yeah, watch your back. Well, saying the exact words. And I found that sort of fascinating. They're not afraid of Superman, even how strong and dangerous Superman could be, but at the same time, they're not afraid. And I thought that sort of fascinating, especially how they decided to retreat because they have one they wanted. They also can take Superman, but once more, you have a lot of civilians around decide to not. And Superman, in his Superman ways, trying to fix everything, especially they have it in the corner that he tried to stop a bridge falling down and the slave right there. He cut him in half. And this is the point they decide to retreat because they're civilians. And Superman just continued what he was doing, just fixing the building, fixing everything. And that was sort of interesting. You really understand the character's sort of motivation, how far they will push it, how far they won't push it. You love the vision, the vibe of the general in a man of water. It just sort of understand how far one will go, the other one will not go. But besides that, I think it's the most interesting thing is the end of the episode. How Superman went back to work dressed as Kent and trying to talk to Lois to see if she's okay. And Lois was a mess. I mean, she was crying, freaking out because of how in love with him he really was. He really was, and afraid he was actually hurt. But the only interesting part is that Superman. Sorry, I'm have my throat is still clogged here, but Superman came back with Clark's clothes, but he was sort of injured. I mean, he still have cuts, bruises, not fully healed yet. And Lois like, what happened to your face? Oh no, I just cut myself. Yeah, cut myself. And Lois like, please stop lying to me. And being Lois, she wanna take the lies. She was going all in like, you could prove to me you're lying. Like one simple thing, save me. That she jumped in the building. Wow, Lois, she's crazy. But be honest, that's sort of what Lois is. Very bold, kind of nerve of steel. She wants something, she will get it, even if she pushes it. And Clark was there. He had to be, didn't have a choice in saving her, and he should have revealed his secret that he didn't want to. But at the very end, I really love that sort of conversation with Lois and Clark. Like, Clark wants to know who he is, but he doesn't really have the answer. And at the very end, he was scared to tell Lois for two separate reasons. One is the fact he doesn't know the right answers, and two, she will post it in the news article. Like why he would tell her, why he actually trusts her. And Lois like, if you tell me, I probably won't do it. That's simple. And yeah, that was interesting, but at the same time, it's sort of hard to understand a person if you tell the information. You just can't rely on that person because it's just sort of very intimate, and that's sort of interesting because both of them are right and both of them are wrong. You could say Lois is more wrong, but knowing Lois how she is falling in love with Clark Kent, he also Superman, she will probably will not do it. But at the very end, Lois is not a monster. She will maybe stop if it's something that important to the other person. And once again, it was sort of interesting because Lois wanted a thing with Clark, but she doesn't know anymore. Doesn't know what is this? Are we friends? Are we lovers? Are we boyfriend or girlfriend? What happened in this effect would change everything. We just don't understand what the next step. And that's just interesting because you do like these two crazy kids to actually get together, but because of their work, because of the must things that they must do, you just sort of a mess. You just don't understand. And that was the thing that just grabs you. This series is that good. Of course, how you felt the reveal, how you felt everything went down, especially with Jimmy, that he just left to the mountains to hunt his Bigfoot, but he also got captured by Bigfoot. You're 100% sure that's really a Grodd. But besides that, I'm right now hyped for the next episode to see what happened. Of course, I ask forgiveness. I'm a little groggy. I'm trying to beat a sickness. But besides that, I hope I make sense. Forgive me, I didn't. Now I have one question. How you felt about this episode? Did you hate it? Do you like it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.